Hi everyone, and thank you so much for joining me once again here at Artlife. As you can probably tell by all the videos I'm creating for you that I really have a passion for all things art. And I just plain enjoy making and showing people how to have a go with being creative wherever you are. So please let me know if there's anything that you'd love to learn how to do or have a go with certain materials. Give me a comment and I'll try to have a go at showing you how to use those materials in a fun and creative way. Please also make sure that you like this video if you like it and subscribe below, because I will be posting heaps of videos in the future and it really does support me to make more videos for you. But stay tuned, because today I'm going to give you a really open-ended task. What that means is that I'm going to give you a few steps and a few tools to create your very own abstract art. Now, there's abstract art examples right behind me, and these were created by my girls when they were both 2 years old. And so what I love about doing art with little babies is that they don't think too much. They just love creating and playing with the materials and layering the materials, and they don't think too much about, does this look good, does this not look good? They really just enjoy. And so that's what this task is all about too, is enjoying the creating part and enjoying the process of creating art, and not having necessarily an idea in mind about what your artwork is going to turn out to be. So I'll show you a few examples of what I created just to give you an idea of what we're making today, but please do not endeavour to just copy what I've done, because that's not showing a lot of creativity. The idea is for you to express yourself through this task. So today I'm going to show you some different ways to layer some materials and have a go at expressing yourself using lines and colours and shapes in an abstract way. So come with me and I'll show you how to do this right now. Today's artwork, as you can see here, I've written, we're going to literally use whatever you have at home, and I'm going to give you the tools to try to create something based on the materials that are available to you. Now you do need a piece of paper, and I'm just working with a plain piece of white A4 paper today, and I'll show you a version of using that. And I have lots of different art materials at home, so I'm going to sort of show you some different steps to get started. I'm going to start with some watercolour. I also have a few sort of watery paints available. I got these from Kmart. Zart also stocks some fantastic metallic slicks. These are like paint in a stick, and they're really slimy and really smooth, and the metallic means that we can add a bit of shine to our work. So if you want to collect some of those from the description below, you'll be able to click on there and order some. But if you don't have something like this either, that's fine. I'll just show you what you could do with it. We're also going to be using some coloured pencils. I have some coloured textures or markers here that we're going to use. So please just gather whatever you have at home. Even if you have sort of 3D things like pom-poms or buttons, you could use that. Maybe you have some glitter. I don't really love to have glitter in my house with my 2 little girls. It would be way too messy, but something like this is a really good option. It's a glitter glue, so it's liquidy, and it means that it doesn't create as much mess, but you're still getting that bit of glitter. So collect what you have at home and grab your paper, and we're going to get started with this expressive abstract lesson today. Okay, so I've gathered all my materials and I've got a piece of A4 paper here. But before we get started, what I'd like you to do, you might choose to use 2 pieces, depending on how many artworks you want to do today. You're going to actually cut this A4 piece of paper in half. That turns your paper into A5 size, which is a bit smaller, but it actually makes it a bit easier to work with. So try your best to cut 2 even A4 pieces. I've got 4 here because I'm going to show you some different things that you can do. You can make as many abstract expressive pieces of art that you like. And what's really fantastic about this task is that there's literally no right or wrong answer, because this is an opportunity for you to express yourself and have fun and play with the materials that you have in front of you. So what I'm going to start with is some paint in the background. So the idea of abstract art is sort of building up layers, using colours, using shapes, using lines to kind of layer on top of each other as if a bricklayer were to build a house, one over the top of the other. So let's start with our first layer. And we're not going to go too crazy, but we are just going to give ourselves a bit of a base. I'm going to use some watercolours today. Now, what you choose is completely up to you. You might consider a bit of a colour scheme. Maybe you want to choose a cool colour scheme or a warm colour scheme, or maybe you just want to choose what your favourite colour is. And you can just start by painting in a bit of a wobbly shape. Now this wobbly sort of shape, these are called organic shapes. If they're not sort of the ones that we learnt about in maths, they're more organic. So I've just sort of done a bit of a splat there. And I've just made that one plain colour, painted it as neatly as I can. Cool. I'm going to do a similar thing over on this side, maybe use a different colour. Maybe you can do a really interesting line and then turn that into a shape by closing the line like that and then filling it in. So try to come up with a really interesting, large organic shape with your first layer and paint it in like that. We're going to do one more shape for each, but this time I want you to think of a geometric shape. So a geometric shape is the type of shape that we would learn from maths, like a rectangle, a circle, a triangle. It's completely up to you what you choose. Please don't feel like you need to copy me, because that's not really you expressing yourself. It's you copying me expressing myself. So let's try to do something a bit different, hey? And come up with your own version of this. There we go. So that's my geometric shape on here. And this time on this one, I'm going to do a circle, a large sort of oval here. Cool. So this is layer number one. Again, if you want to use some other pieces of paper to do this multiple times, because some might turn out better than others, you might get into the flow a little bit more the more you do it. I'm going to do two more, but this time I'm going to use these Kmart paints that I have. And the colours, the only difference is the colours might be just that little bit brighter than a watercolour. Now try to mix it up by doing something different each time. You want to do your first layer using multiple colours, like not just use one colour colouring this in. If you want to use another one as well, go for it. It's very intuitive, it's very much based on how you're feeling. And that's a fantastic thing about art, is it's a wonderful way to express yourself. This one looks like a jelly bean. Remember to try to paint as neatly as you can, because if you're just sort of rushing and just being really scrappy with it, you know, it will look messy. So try your best to paint as neatly as possible. Even though this is abstract, it doesn't mean messy or careless. Still going to try our best. All right, that's another one done. Wonderful. So let's set those aside and let them dry. If you just use watercolor, it really won't take long at all to dry. But if you used acrylics, it will take a little bit longer. So let's let that set. And we'll come back and do a couple more layers over the top. Now, while you're allowing your first layer to dry, what I'd like us to do is to create a piece of paper that is decorative. So this isn't our artwork. We're going to cut the paper we create to then put it onto our artwork. So we need to decorate this paper first. Now, I've just got some textures here. You could use crayons, you could use literally whatever you have at home. And it's just a matter of creating an interesting sort of line design. You might think of a line and repeat it. You don't have to create a piece of paper that's completely full, but the more you do, the more you have available to you when it comes to cutting. So I'm just gonna enjoy drawing at the moment. Again, let's not just do this, because you'll be able to tell when you put it onto your artwork that that was just rushed. You can definitely see the difference here in the time and effort put in. So take your time, enjoy the process. It is very relaxing. You don't have to do zigzags by any means. You can do little raindrops like this. You could just do a whole lot of spots. It takes a bit longer. It takes a bit more patience. You could do bigger ones like this. So really just consider different patterns. Pick the colours that you like or you think might add to your artwork really nicely. And while your background's drying, spend some time creating some detailed paper for yourself. Wonderful. So it really didn't take too long for the watercolours to dry. It was only a couple of minutes for me. So what we're going to do now is do another layer. So we're going to express ourselves this time with some more detailed lines. So you can grab whatever you have at home that will help you to create lines. So I'm going to show you maybe with some pencils, different effects that might happen if you use an oil pastel. And then I've also got some water-soluble markers or textures here, Faber-Castell Connect pens. So when it comes to the type of line that you draw, it's completely up to you. But can I suggest, while you're getting used to this idea, I'd like you to actually close your eyes. So grab some sort of pen, pencil, whatever you're using, grab one of your pieces of paper and find a space that needs a detail. Okay, so place your pencil down, and then now it's time to close your eyes. Now I'm not going to be messy, I'm not going to go crazy, but I am going to draw maybe a scribbly wobbly sort of line that I don't have control over because my eyes are closed. You ready? I'm going to do this now. Now, the idea of that and closing our eyes is sometimes we can really overthink the marks that we make. And so if our eyes are closed, that helps us to sort of let go and lose a bit of control, I suppose. So I'm going to do this again. Think of the colours you're using. I'm going to do this with a pencil. I'm going to close my eyes once again. And remember, there's no right or wrong. This is how you're feeling. Maybe you're feeling a little bit angry at the moment, and so the type of lines you want to create are a little bit more jagged. Maybe if you use a water-soluble texture like these ones here, you might even be able to draw a line like this. Again, I'm going to close my eyes, over the top a little bit. And then the cool thing about water-soluble markers is you could actually get your paintbrush from before, and if you add some water, the colours kind of spread a little bit. That colour was a little bit light, so you can't really see it. I might try it one more time with a darker colour. But again, that's not a mistake. I can fix that, or I can go over the top of it if I'm not too happy with it. The idea is really just to enjoy and express yourself. So I'm going to create a line coming down here. Now we don't want to overdo it. So we don't want our paper to just be crazy or too filled, I suppose. It's okay to have some areas that are left white. But again, do what you feel. So I've just added some water to the markers there, and that gives it a different sort of texture. Pastels are the same. They're great because they layer over the top of colours really, really well, as you can see there. And then you can also add water as well, and that turns them into a bit of paint if you're wanting more of a smudged look. Cool, so I've done two. Let's do something here. Flip it upside down as well. Grab a different sort of material. I'm going to do a nice swirl here because it's a bit jagged at the moment. For my liking, I want to add a bit of a rounded thing in there. So maybe just 2 lines. It is fun, but there is a degree of letting go and enjoying the process as well. All right, so that was layer number 2. We're going to do 2 more, so 4 layers in total. So you probably won't really need to wait for any of this to dry. But what we're going to grab now is our paper. So the paper that we decorated, we're now going to have a go at cutting some different shapes to create a layer of collage. So collage is when you cut and paste paper to create an artwork. So it makes our artwork a bit more dynamic because you're using different skills. You're using painting skills, you're using some drawing skills, and now we're using some collage skills as well. So again, just cutting sort of an organic shape. I could use one there, I can use another one on here. I don't really like that bit there, so I might sort of cover that with that one. You know, twist it around, just consider where things might work well. Again, you can add to your paper if you're wanting a different color introduced. You can always sort of decorate your paper again and just keep cutting and layering. Cool. So lock those in by gluing them down. Now, I'm not sure which one you love the best. I don't really know which my favorite is at the moment. Maybe this one. But we are doing our lucky last layer now. And the idea of the last layer is to add a bit of texture. So you can add texture in many, many different ways. Now, I explained before you could add things like buttons or pom-poms over the top. Glitter is a really good option because it also adds a bit of a sheen or a shine. So I'm going to add a little bit of glitter glue to some of my artworks here. That's just a matter of painting it on where I'd like it to go. You can either do it in big clumps like that, or you can spread it out a little bit by painting it. You can sort of accentuate an area or a line by adding texture to it. Again, there's no rules. I do want to also show you what happens when you use these metallic slicks from Zart. It's a great way of just adding a bit of glitz to your work. So they add a really fantastic sort of shimmery shine as well. So adding some shine is adding a form of texture. Something else you could do, if you've still got your watercolours handy, is add a bit of texture through some splatter painting. So I've done splatter painting before in a few of my other videos. I'll show you what you do. So you just get your colour on your brush. It needs to be fairly watery. And you can either use your finger or you can use another brush to tap. So you can either flick up with your finger or tap down like that. That looks pretty cool. Might not work. I'll do the finger one on this one. Ready? That looks cool too. These are all just optional. You could even do some finger painting if you wanted to. That adds a bit of texture. You could stick some three-dimensional objects on top as well as the last textured kind of addition there. But at the end, you have a really fantastic, dynamic, layered, self-expressive sort of artwork that's mixed media. Mixed media means you've used different bits of materials and added them all together. And no, it's not necessarily a picture of anything, but that is the thing about abstract art. Your art doesn't have to be of anything. It can be about enjoying the process, enjoying using lines and colours and shapes all together to create an artwork. So that's why I wanted you to do a few, because you might have one or two that are your favorites. One might have not worked as well as you'd hoped, but it is about learning the process and enjoying different elements of art. A last final touch that you can add to your abstract art is to frame your work with a coloured piece of paper. It just makes the artwork sort of stand out a little bit more and look really finished. I'll show you what I mean. So have a look at each of your pieces of paper and see if there's a colour that you might like to sort of bring out from the design. So I have my piece of paper here that fits really nicely onto, you can see, a purple background. So I might take some time to just glue that down. You might choose to make the frame a little bit smaller and just cut into the page a little bit more, but doing that really finishes off your artwork really nicely by framing it. So it's as simple as that. I really hope that you've enjoyed expressing yourself today. I really hope as well that you do actually like the outcome and that you feel proud of the work that you've done, but also the things that you've learnt along the way. Thanks again so much for joining me, and don't forget to press on my profile picture to find all the other videos I've created for you, because there's heaps of other self-expressive tasks and mindfulness tasks for you to really delve into some open-ended art at home. See you next time.